afternoon's class, we will be starting in a seated meditation. So coming on to your knees if that feels comfortable for you. You can also have a block that's gently placed between the ankles here and rest back, or you could have a blanket or a towel underneath the knees if that helps it feel more comfortable for you. Or if the knees just are not available, just come into a nice comfortable seat. So finding your comfortable seat here, sitting up nice and tall, lifting through the crown of the head. Feel the sit bones connected to the heels. Start to tune inward, noticing your breath. We'll be holding today's postures a little longer than you're probably used to in a normal flow practice. So with yin, we want to let go of any engagement in the muscles so that we can get into the fascia tissue, the connective tissue, in between the joints and the bones, and really allow for some opening, some deeper range of motion, flexibility within the joints. It also gives us a feeling of lightness. So perhaps I want to invite you to take an intention for your practice today. This practice will be focused on uplifting your mood, or just kind of if you're feeling a little down, this is a good practice to practice for uplifting. So I want to invite you to, when you take a nice inhalation, set your mantra. Something that you repeat to yourself is, I am aware now, or I am present now. Breathe that into all cells of the body. Allow it to become a part of your inner blueprint. If you haven't already done so, you can begin to deepen the breath, inhaling all the way from the base of the spine, elongating through each vertebrae, lifting through the crown of the head, allowing the shoulders to settle down and away from the ears, opening the chest and the heart. Perhaps it might feel nice for you if you have a hand mudra already. You can stay there. The hands can be placed down on the lap gently, or perhaps you bring the left hand to the heart, the right hand to the lower abdomen or the belly. Notice the breath as it fills up all the way from the belly button through the low ribs and upper chest. And then exhaling through the chest, ribs, low belly, belly button draws up and in towards the spine. Continue focusing on the breath. Perhaps you restrict the back of the throat, making the sound as if you're fogging up a mirror, but allow the lips to remain sealed. This deepens and extends the inhalations and exhalations. Welcome all that surrounds you. Invite everything in. It's all a part of us. External or internal, it's all a part of the experience. Each each inhalation, deepening the breath a little further. Each exhalation expelling all that no longer serves us. Be it thoughts, habits, patterns, emotions that might keep you stuck. As you breathe in, I am aware now, or I am present now. Maybe with your inhalations, you inhale saying, I am aware now, or I am present now. And with the exhalations, I let go of any and all that no longer serves me. Stay calm and connected, long and lifted, heart open. Few more breaths in and out here. When you're ready, you can release the hands down by the sides, or if you have them on your lap, you can slowly flutter the eyes open. Take a moment to tuck our toes underneath and just reach down and around and draw that pinky toe in case it's stuck. We're going to open up the toes here. So know if you feel any pain present, and I'm talking like a sharp shooting pain, we want to come out of the posture. We don't do a lot of care for the feet often. So as we open up the toes and the feet, they say those with open toes, open feet have an open mind. Do your best to breathe into it. If you need to come out of the posture a little bit, you can always lean forward. Just taking some pressure and strain off of the toes. Try to be with it. Staying connected. Maybe using the breath to create some space around sensation. There's a fine line between sensation and pain, so making sure that we're honoring the body. So sensation is if we have maybe a sense of dis-ease or discomfort, but pain would be sharp and shooting. We want to honor the body and where it's at. So a few more breaths. Know that it's your practice, your body knows best, so if you need to come out, feel free to do so. Honor the body and your practice in that way. Good, let's release the toes, untucking the toes, bringing the hips back down to the heels, and we're going to stretch out the tops of the ankles, the tops of the feet here. So the hands can come alongside the body. Perhaps you lift up onto the knees, lifting the knees up, feeling that stretch in the top of the ankles. Stay lifted up out of the chest and the heart, so don't crunch down in. Stay nice and lifted. A nice arch in the cervical spine, so we're not dumping the head either. We want to keep it nice and long. Finding your breath. Using the breath to send signals to the body that it's okay to relax. So often we live in this parasympathetic nervous state, so that we are always on the move, on the go, fight or flight. I'm sorry, that's sympathetic. So we want to move from sympathetic to parasympathetic, which is where our body rests and heals, restores and renews very deeply at a cellular level. So we're going to move away from thinking and doing, and just being present with the breath, with the body, with the sensation. Allowing it to be, but without pain. So any sharp shooting and pains we would want to move out. A few more breaths. Good. Coming back up. Let's take a moment to come into child's pose. So bringing the knees out nice and wide on the mat here. Big toes touch. And gently walking yourself down. Allow sensation to return into the feet and the toes. Perhaps you wiggle the toes here for a little bit. Perhaps the forehead finds the mat, or if you have a block or blanket, you can rest the forehead there. Breathing into the front of the hip flexors, the low back and sacrum area. Using the breath to be with what is. Not trying to avoid sensation or move around or change anything. Just making space for it all to be. You may notice that the body might start to tremble or shake. Just asking for your attention. Releasing trapped or stored energy that's no longer needed within the body. Allow it to be there. Use the breath to be with it. Not trying to make it go away. Give it space to be, acknowledge its presence. Almost there. Good, using the hands, you can gently walk yourself back up. Let's bring the knees together. We make our way down onto the mat with our seats. We'll draw the soles of the feet together, sitting up nice and tall. The feet can be a little further away if you'd like to open up the low back sacrum area, or you may draw the feet in a little closer to you, to the body, to the inner groin, and you'll get more of a deeper stretch on the inner groin area. So know that if you have some blocks, you can always use them for some additional support. And then just feel free to adjust the feet in a way that feels nice for you and your body. Sitting up nice and tall, nice deep inhalation. And then exhale, just gently begin to sink forward, floating forward. So we're not going to rush down, we're just going to allow the body and gravity to do the work for us here. So you can definitely round into the back. It's a less active pose than normal butterfly or Baddha Konasana. You can allow the head to hang nice and heavy. Knees can splay out to the left and to the right. Expanding the belly with each inhalation. Relax a little deeper into the posture with each exhalation. It may be tiny micro movements, or it may feel like no movement at all. But continue using the breath. Knowing that you are perfect exactly where you are. If you're feeling it, then you're doing it right. Definitely just want to make sure you are feeling a stretch of some sort. Finding that nice edge. So as you inhale nice and deep, expand the belly, the ribs, the back. Expand in all directions. Notice how the whole body responds. Soften the facial features, unclench the teeth in the jaw. Soften into the experience. Let go from thinking about the experience, just becoming the experience. Allow sensations to arise, perhaps giving them a name or a shape or a color, and just observing them from a neutral awareness. Breathing in, I am aware now. Breathing out, I release all judgments and any judgments that no longer serve me. If your body starts to move into avoidance, see if you can breathe with it. Stay with it. Maybe taking this time to notice if the body has shifted or moved. No judgments, no forcing, no effort, just noticing. Let's take a nice deep inhalation through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale, and let it all go. Good. Place the hands out alongside on the mat. Just ever so mindfully, slowly and gently use the arms to bring yourself upright. Nice and slow, just as mindfully and easily as you went in, coming out. Using the strength of the hands, grabbing outside of the knees, drawing the knees together. Perhaps shifting the feet about hip distance apart, hands coming behind us. We'll take a moment to just lift up and out, and perhaps windshield wiper the knees to the left and to the right. Just allowing sensation and circulation to return. Allowing that blood flow, can't talk today, blood flow to circulate and continue to remove any holding or excess tension or buildup within the muscles, the joints. So nice. When you feel complete, let's take a moment to come back on to our hands and knees. Taking a moment or two to just press firmly into the mat. Lift the belly up and in, crown of the head reaching forward. Perhaps doing just a couple of cat-cows, so lifting the gaze, lifting the tailbone. Exhale, draw the chin in towards the chest, rounding in the upper shoulders. Tailbone reaching down. Good, finding your way into neutral center position. We're going to draw that right knee up towards the right wrist and draw the right foot out towards the left wrist. So we're going to come into pigeon pose. So finding yourself here, we also call this swan and yin. So making sure that the toes are flexed so that we're protecting the knee joint We're shifting the hips square to the mat, so we're not dumping onto the right side. We really want to tuck the toes under and lengthen and extend through that back leg. So sitting up nice and tall, opening up the front of that left hip. Allow the shoulders to soften and relax down. Nice deep inhalations and exhalations here. Let's just be here. If you have blocks, you may find that that's a nice support just underneath the hip. If you have a lot of space there, you may want to use a block or a blanket, a folded blanket or a towel. Stay nice and lifted, nice and tall here. Good, let's walk our way down ever so gently and slowly. Moving down into relaxed swan, relaxed pigeon. Stay grounded in that left leg though. We don't want to shift all the way over onto the right hip. So you can be here on your forearms, or perhaps you have some extra space and you can move all the way down. There's an additional variation that I like to take where you take this left arm and tuck it through as if you're doing thread the needle, and then draw the right hand back along the back and grabbing a hold of the big toe. So this provides a nice stretch for the outer hip as well as the shoulder. And just begin to breathe into it. If this variation doesn't feel good for the body, feel free to remain on the forearms or on some blocks. Just find what feels good for you. Taking this time to notice if you have any tension in the jaw or the shoulders, allow it to soften. Soften and relax the throat. Allow any holding to be carried away with each exhalation. Send your breath to the outer hip, the inner groin. If you start to feel sharp shooting pains, feel free to back out of the posture, honoring the body. You can always come back into the posture if you wish. Otherwise, see if you can settle down, relax into it. If you're in the variation where your left shoulder is tucked underneath the body and the right hand is around for the back for a wrap, feel free to uncross that arm from the back, bring it forward. Gently press that right hand into the mat and untuck the left arm, coming back onto the forearm. forearms. Let's take a nice deep inhalation together. Exhale and release. So nice. Gently tuck the toes of the left heels, come up onto the palms of the hands. Walk yourself back gently. Lift the back knee off the floor and step the right foot back. Let's come into down dog for just a few breaths. Notice the difference between the right side and the left side. Maybe coming up onto the toes and then softening one ankle and then the other. So nice. Breathe into the low back. Allow circulation to return here. Good, shifting forward, coming into top of a push-up. You can release the knees down to the mat. Let's draw that left knee in and up towards that left hand. Walk that left foot out to the right hand or the right edge of the mat. You can keep the toes tucked under and gently walk yourself back, coming into pigeon on the opposite side. Okay, stay nice and long through that back leg, lifted through the spine. Again, if you have a lot of space between the mat and your hip or your glute, you feel free to place a book or a block or a blanket. Even a pillow may suffice. Keep the left toes flexed, protecting that knee joint. And let's stay here for a few breaths. If you have blocks, you can walk them alongside the body so you're sitting up nice and tall, really opening up that right hip flexor. See if you're tightening in the glutes. Soften the glutes, and then you can begin to gently and slowly, mindfully walk yourself down to resting swan. Again, you can come onto the elbows or the forearms. Perhaps you have a block underneath the elbows or the forearms. And perhaps if you're really open, you have some extra space. Again, you can draw that left, let me see here. So taking the right arm, tucking it underneath the left. So coming down onto that shoulder and then reaching that left arm up around the back and grabbing a hold of the toe. So if this is asking too much of the body, your body will let you know. You'll feel tension in the hips, the jaws, perhaps even the shoulders. If you're finding it difficult to breathe, or relax into the sensation, take notice of that without judgment. Taking time to honor and relax the body. Again, you can move out of this variation at any time. You can come back to center on the forearms. Even make a pillow with the hands for the forehead. Keep that right leg grounded, hips squared off to the mat. Again, each inhalation, I am aware, or I am present. Each exhalation, I expel any and all judgments or all that no longer serves me. Notice the subtle shifts in the body. Stay with it. Soften the space between the brows. If you have your shoulder alongside the mat and the left arm behind you, reaching for that left toe, feel free to release the grip of the toe, draw the left hand back out in front of you or alongside the head. Press into the mat with that left hand, draw that right arm up off the floor, perhaps coming back onto the elbows and forearms. Let's take a nice collective inhalation here, nice deep inhale. Exhale audibly, let it all go. Placing the hands on the mat, slowly and gently walk yourself back up to swan. Stay relaxed. Tuck the right toes under. Place the palms of the hands on the mat. Lift the right knee and step that left foot back. Coming into down dog. Again, allowing circulation and blood flow to return, perhaps paddling into the feet. Maybe you shift the hips side to side, it's whatever feels good. Lifting up onto the toes and then softening through the heels and ankles. So nice. Good. Let's come back down onto the knees. I'm going to shift sideways onto the mat, kind of facing you. Well, what we're going to want to do, you'll want some padding probably below the knees, so you may want to come to the long edge of the mat. We're going to move into frog. So what that looks like is you can either have the toes pointed in, that's considered to be tadpole, and coming down onto the forearm. So this is a really deep hip opener here. So if the toes are tucked in or big toes are pointing together, we're still going to keep the hips lifted. If this is too much on the inner knees, you may want to come to the side of the mat so that you're able to have some additional padding for the knees. Now, we can hold here in tadpole for some breaths. Breathing in, I am aware, I am present. Breathing out, I release any and all judgments and all that no longer serves me. Breathing into that inner groin. Know that if there is shaking or trembling, that's okay. Allow it to be there. Allow these releases to happen. Soften the shoulders, unclench the jaw. the more you shift forward onto the elbows or the forearms, the deeper stretch you're going to get, the more you sit the hips kind of back. I guess it just depends on your body, but you'll feel the sensation in different areas depending on where you adjust your hips. So just find what feels good for you. Without overdoing it, and going beyond your edge. A few more breaths. Good. Now, you can either stay here, or you can move a little deeper into the pose by turning the toes outward, right? So I'm going to move to the side of the mat just because it gets a little uncomfortable for my knees. You may also want to have some padding for the elbows as well. So bring the feet out nice and wide. Again, you can flex the toes. If you have a bolster, you can use the bolster. This is, again, a really deep hip opener. You have some emotions that are showing up, so allow them to be. We hold a lot of stress and tension within our hips. A lot of trapped energy stored there in the body, perhaps traumatic events. So just allow anything that's coming to be with what is. You can breathe with it, feel really nice. Just keep breathing with it. Again, you can always shift back into tadpole if that feels good for you. I'm just gonna... And when you're ready, you can walk the hands back together, the toes can point inward. And let's make our way down onto our mats. Draw the knees together. Come onto your back. Give yourself a great big hug for showing up on your mats today. Showing up for yourself, devoting time for yourself and your practice. Shift the tailbone down towards the mat. Press the low back into the mat. Hug the knees in nice and tight. Sending yourself some love and gratitude. Thanking the body for serving us in the many capacities that it does. When we're ready, you can move on to your final relaxation pose of the day. Moving into Shavasana, so bringing the feet down onto the mat. Ankles and feet come to the outer corner edges. Soften the ankles, toes fall out to the left and to the right. Perhaps you tuck the shoulders underneath, back. Allow everything to sink down a little deeper. Palms can be facing up for receiving. Receiving new awareness, new insight. Receiving each new breath, staying present and aware in the moment. Exhale, feeling fully safe, fully supported. Feeling the weight of the body on the floor, the weight of the judgments being released into the earth beneath you. Soften the eyes. Relax the face. Feeling a deep sense of safety, comfort, and peace begin to wash over you. I want to encourage you to stay in your Shavasana for up to 11 minutes or longer. Really integrating today's practice, giving yourself the time that you deserve. You, as much as anyone else, deserve this time for yourself, for your body, for your care. You need your own love and attention too. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me in the practice today. It's been an honor to be your guide, and we hope to see you next time. Have a great rest of your week. Namaste.